What is going on, everybody? Already, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Give me 1 second here. Let me throw this over here for a second. Let me know if you guys can hear me real quick. Nope. Can you guys hear me or no? Let's see. Yeah, you guys got it? Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, bear with me 1 second. Let me just pull this up. Eventually I get to it here. Let's see. Oh, there we go. All righty. So, and golden. All right. Awesome. 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 Let me get this set up. Sorry. I'm kind of catching up here. I ended up just finishing dinner. So, well, it is Tuesday. How's everybody doing? It is Tuesday. Last week. So last week and the week before were my last weeks of club volleyball season. So both my girls officially finished club volleyball season. Not too shabby. I was pretty happy. My middle daughter, out of, I think it was like something like 3,000 teams in the nation that competed at nationals, they finished 5th. So not too bad. And of course, I live in South Florida, so they actually finished #1 in the state of Florida, which is a really awesome feat. And my oldest daughter, I think they ended up coming in 5th or 6th in AAU nationals. So overall, it was a really nice tournament for both girls. And of course, I'm back at it. So I was actually pretty happy to see, not to rub it into anybody's faces, but I was pretty happy to see that while I was gone for 2 weeks, the market didn't do much. So I didn't miss out on anything. And of course, I'm going to be looking for some decent plays coming this week with the fundamentals, right? Let's dive into what news we're going to have this week. And if you guys haven't seen what tomorrow is going to bring, it is going to be some very significant movements across the 3 largest banks in the world. So you have the ECB, Bank of England, and the Federal Reserve. All of those governors or chairmen are going to be speaking tomorrow at the same time during New York session. So have you seen the Bank of Japan buying bonds? Well, I know they're going to have to do something because right now they're at a negative interest rate. So, and that's why we're seeing such an appreciation for crosses against the yen. My condolences to anybody who's been trying to sell the yen crosses. We looked at it this morning. And what was it? We looked on my FX book. I always like to get a laugh out of it sometimes. And looking on my FX book over here, I think we were looking at Chef JPY this morning, right? What is it? Sentiments. Let's see. Yeah, here you go. I think it was something like the average drawdown on Chef JPY. First of all, everyone and their mom is selling Chef JPY. That's got their accounts linked to my FX book. Where is it? I did the same thing today. Let's see. Somewhere around here. I think I've passed it again, didn't I? Well, I mean, you could see everybody's selling GJ. 75% are shorts. The average drawdown on a short price is almost 800 pips. CADJ, the same thing. Everyone and their mom is shorting CADJ. I've just been buying it. Average drawdown is 800 pips. What's another one? Chef JPY, and it was like over 800 pips. But yeah, there it is right there. Yeah, you've got 84% are shorting it. 84%. The average drawdown's 900 pips. So yeah, I've just been continuing to buy everything against the yen. Nothing is really telling me not to. We haven't seen any kind of weakness. So until we get weakness, I'm still going to hold all my yen cross buys. But fundamentally, I think this is really going to give a lot of volatility to the market. OPEC meetings all week, so you can expect some volatility in the Canadian dollar. And I'm really not worried about month over month price indexes on the US dollar, but we are going to see indices on Friday. And I probably will be done trading by that time there. So we'll see what indices are going to give us this week. Overall, I'm kind of waiting for price to get back up into my big sell area, and we'll kind of get into indices a little later. But, you know, overall, I don't think the market's really given anything on indices. You know, I was looking for buys today. It just never, well, I mean, we got way too late in the day for me to even look for the buys when we did come into the area. So that's ultimately what I'm going to be looking at, you know, to continue going forward. And, you know, we'll see what kind of volatility we do get. The big thing that I will be looking at, let's get over here to the chart. Do fundamentals give you reason to hold your trades long-term, or do you use news for, just for volatility purposes? The technicals is what's giving me the reason to hold long-term. Yeah. Fundamentals mean nothing other than just momentarily creating that volatility. That's all it is. Right. All right. So on dollar index, let's get back over to dollar index. So there we go. All right. All right. So here we are. Nothing has changed at all. Nothing whatsoever has changed. So dollar index, I'm still very much bullish on this. And, you know, I spoke 2 weeks ago. I wanted us to come in here. We haven't done that. I am 100%. I guess I can delete this. There we go. I am 100% expecting at this point us to just continue going higher. So, you know, I'm going to start tackling, you know, I was anticipating looking at some EU buys. I'm sorry, EU shorts and dollar buys. And unfortunately, nothing really came into fruition. I did get into a nice little GU short yesterday. And if you guys were up for London, hopefully you saw the GU short during London. It actually played out pretty nicely. But this dollar index for me, very, very much bullish. There's no time frame whatsoever that we are bearish on, at least in my opinion. So I'm going to continue to look for the buys on everything for the dollar. You know, again, if we do come lower, it'd be great because we have our distribution, we've got our 1 drive, we've got our 2 drive, and maybe that's what we start to build schematics, you know, in here in an area of demand. I just don't see a reason. I mean, maybe we get that push down tomorrow with some news. And if we do, great. I mean, I'll be happy. You can see I've got my alert sitting right here. But for the most part, we are very much bullish. So I'll continue to look for those buys on the dollar. And if we're looking at this on the dollar side, I know exactly how I'm going to trade EU, right? Because EU is simply that right there, right? You know, we come back up into the FOMC news candle. That's ideally what I would want to sell EU from to do this. So if we get over to EU, this is kind of like how my thought process behind it. Come on, there we go. All right. So essentially this is it, right? I mean, this is my manipulation that I want to come back into. So I do have an alert right up here. You know, if we do get up into that area, this is where I want to short from. What I was kind of looking at this morning was just the manipulation, right? We definitely had a reason to play out of this. So price did give, no, I don't want to move that. There we go. Price did give us a really, really clean redistribution right here. And out of that redistribution, we know that's where they bought, and this is where they sold during Frankfurt. So ideally, I wanted us to come back into this, especially after we broke here. You know, this low right here gave me the weakness. And, you know, unfortunately, we just never saw it. So maybe tonight, this is what we get. Maybe coming into London, we'll get something to come back and mitigate this area. And this is what I'll be looking for. You know, I'll be just waiting for a schematic to play out so that I can catch a distribution to take it lower. And if we get that, great. I mean, that's ultimately where I'm going to be playing. The long-term targets for me are going to be trying to get price to make a new low, right? I'm going to see, you know, obviously my target's going to be take out this low right here. And then we just have a massive redistribution, right? This is essentially our accumulation with our ICE, right? And do something like this to maybe come back, mitigate to go lower. Nothing about EU for me is really anything bullish. You know, I was anticipating 2 weeks ago trying to buy out of here. but that ship sailed. Now what I'm looking for is just treating this as a large distribution. And from a market cycle perspective, the overall is just going to be a redistro, right? That's what I'm going to be looking for. So I do like shorts coming in. Obviously if we do, come back into this area, I need a schematic. Ideally, what I'd love for EU to give me is a break below here, right? Let this come down and then we go back up. That'll really give me the sign of weakness that I really want to get, right? That's ultimately how I'm going to look to play this. Does EU and Eurocad correlate in my opinion? So, it depends on the level of correlation. Are they correlated against each other? No, absolutely not. Can you, if dollar is bullish, we know that the euro has to be bearish, right? Because they're diametrically opposed. And then it just comes back to, as far as what's the driving force. If the dollar is the driving force, right, which it is, over the last, I would say 6 to 8 weeks, the dollar has been the driving force in every euro pair. So if that's the case, bullish dollar means everything against the euro is going to be bearish, right? And then you've got to kind of break down to see, what the other asset is weighting against. But I wouldn't correlate. If EU is bearish, then Eurocad has to be bearish. No, I wouldn't correlate it like that. So I would say that Eurocad is going to be bearish because I'm bullish on US dollar Canadian. So if I am bullish on UCAD, right, that means that ECAD should be bearish, if that makes sense, because this is the driving force, the dollar. So hopefully that kind of explains it. On GU side, right? This is kind of my thought process with GU, and this is what I got into yesterday. So very much bearish on GU, right? We're maintaining our leg from here. And ideally, I wanted to see us, especially after breaking this low right here, I wanted to see us come back into this area of supply and give us a distribution. Now, when we did just measuring the entire leg, right? When we measured our leg here, this is 50% of our leg. So when we did tap into that, I started to look for reasons to short this. Why is EU and DXY diametrically opposed? So the euro and the dollar are pegged against each other. So if you look at the futures market of the euro and Euro USD are the exact same chart. So comparably strength against each other. So same thing like the Australian futures chart is the Australian US dollar chart inversed. The New Zealand futures chart is the NU inversed. The Canadian dollar is US dollar Canadian inversed. So if we know that Euro USD and Euro futures are pegged against each other, the dollar index is pegged in the exact opposite. So it's a 180 degree from the euro. So that's why they're diametrically opposed, because they're pegged against each other. And if you look at the makeup of it, I think right now, like the euro is made up of 58%, or makes up 58% of the dollar index. So that's why. Okay. So on GU, right? On GU, I was looking for shorts, and, I don't know if anybody caught this yesterday, but ideally what I wanted to see was some kind of manipulation. I do think that we are in a larger distribution, and we'll see if we go higher with it. But once we got this price action here, and this is it's all about timing and positioning, right? So once London price action here swept all of the previous sessions highs, is Banks vacation close? Banks vacation close. What do you mean by Banks vacation close? Like, are traders going on summer vacation? Yeah, for the most part, they will. I can only imagine they will. So anyway, when we got that manipulation, all I needed to do was see a weakness, right? So if we're looking at order flow, these are two highs, meant this is your low, right? So when we broke here, this is what I wanted to see. And measuring the move, right? This is 50%, this is 80%. Ideally, ideally, I want to see a distribution in there. So when price gave me that distribution, right? And oh no, there we go. When price gave me that distribution, here she is, simple type 1 distribution during the heart of New York session, which is what I like. And, just following this up, you're just moving you're moving your distribution until you finally break. So these are all just your climaxing your multiple tests. Once we finally, here's another test, and then boom. So this is my UTAD. That is my break of structure. And then ideally what I wanted to do was, this is 80% and this is 50% of your UTAD. I just wanted to make sure I got filled. So I measured out this area right here, and I took it off the 80% of this. So you would have been filled even if you took it off the 80 here, and you kind of take my advice and add 2 pipettes to your entries, you would have been filled. So I got filled a little lower. But overall, this was, what was this? Like a 3, it's a 3 pip stop. So I got filled in there. And then obviously, as soon as we redistribute here, reduce risk, paid myself the risk of the trade. And, ideally I was looking for a re-entry out of New York out of this redistribution, because I liked how we did a really nice shakeout, right? Here's your redistro, accumulation, distribution. So I was looking to see if price can come back up and trigger me in. I had an entry out of this. But no joy, she didn't come back. So all in all, it was a pretty decent trade especially for Monday. Honestly, like if I wasn't marking up my charts, I would never have even taken the trade. So Monday mornings is when I do my charts, and you could see like where she's sitting at right now, or at least this morning where she was sitting at. It was a 1 to 42. So really clean entry. I didn't give it a lot of risk. I only threw about half my normal risk into it, simply because it was a Monday. But last night, if you guys were up during London, right, she did give a really nice clean entry. Even if you don't have seconds time frame, I mean, what am I looking for? I mean, this is for me, my typical play: redistribution, Asian liquidity for all those Asian traders. She takes out the high and takes out the low, comes back in and distributes, right? So out of this distribution, this was super, super clean. You've got your schematic in here. You've got your manipulation. There's your UTAD. When you break, coming right back into the 80%, that was your entry. Super, super clean. And there's even I won't spend too much time on it, but there's even a micro 1 second distribution right there that she comes right into the 50% of it. So this was super, super clean to play off of. And then just coming back in once you get that sign of weakness, coming back into your next, right, into your next play, all you had to do is just measure it out, give it off I think it took it off the 50. And yeah, right there. So she came right off the 50, and then on the 1 minute, there she is. I mean, beautiful type 1 schematic during the heart of London. So perfect schematic. If you just measure out the leg, I mean, that's 50 and 80. She comes right into it, gives it perfectly clean right in here. It was a 1 pip stop loss. And then from there, just immediately just drops. So this was a super clean play. What I was looking for in continuation of it was I want us to come back into the slingshot of it. All right. So ideally what I wanted to see during New York, and it's still 100% absolutely viable, right? Because if we look at it from like a 5 minute, this is just the redistribution. So our leg, right? Our leg, if we do end up breaking this low, our leg is now this, right? And then ideally, I'd still like to see if we can come back into this price action. But if you were able to catch any of these moves during London, I mean, you're sitting at a 1 to 33, 1 to 30, and a 1 to 100. Geez, that was a decent one right there. 1 to 100 minus spread, of course, whatever your spread is on your different broker. But this gave really, really clean price action. You know, if you didn't catch it, I definitely suggest going in and back testing it, because this morning when I looked at it, it was immediately apparent what happened. So ideally what I want to do is where we're at right now, I just want us to break this low, you know, and I'll just continue, just much like EU, continue to short this. You know, nothing about GU is giving me any kind of strength, right? I mean, you can just see where we're at. We're in a massive redistribution from here. And if we do end up going higher with this, I mean, this is still the area that I want to short from, you know, and if we break this, I mean, this is still not even structure for me. I mean, structure is way the heck up there. So this is just a testament to, I guess, what dollar is really doing and showing that bullish sign, right? So EU, GU, I'm definitely looking for those shorts. Again, AU and NU as well, right? So bigger picture. There we go. Yeah, bigger picture. I was trying to short last week out of here and just never gave me a damn entry. So unfortunately, it is what it is. You know, I am still looking for shorts. The fact that we didn't break this low doesn't give me any cause for concern. I'm still looking for the shorts, because if you look over at what NU did, right? NU already took the low. So NU is the leader, AU is the laggard, right? You could see just the weakness in the New Zealand dollar. So because these two are benchmarks against each other, I don't need that new low, right? I can still pretty much look for my shorts and how I want to do it. I'm not a fan of this price action in here, but I'm willing to work with it, right? So where we are, we have to recognize we're at a discount, right? So shorting this is still very, very risky, right? You know, it's not something that I'm going to be holding into high regard. So when it comes to like priorities, it's not something that's 100%, you know, like if I've got nothing else going on, I'll take it. And last week, this is something that we were looking at here, right? We had super clean price action, right? We had just order flow. You know, we had this break caused here. Then we come in, we distribute, we redistribute, make a new low. I was looking for price to come here, right? What I wanted to see was out of New York price action, I wanted to see, do we come back into this price action here? Unfortunately, you know, you can see my alert was sitting here to look for, you know, crossing the Asian high and looking for shorts. So it did give it, right? I mean, during London and Frankfurt price action, much like GU, gave a really clean distribution, right? You know, so if you were up for it, you know, hopefully you caught it. This was, I mean, you don't need the seconds time frame to see it. You should be able to see plenty of orders getting filled and then your manipulation. And once you break, right, that's all you really needed to see. You know, measure out your UTAD. The blue line and the red line are my 2 points of interest that I'm selling. And what does price do? Price comes back and distributes again right out of that 50%. So it gave an opportunity there to get in. You know, for me, the key was just following the market cycle. So, you know, coming back out to like the 5 minute, you know, what do we see? Well, we have a new leg, right? And ideally what I want to see is I want to see us, I want to see us break this, right? Because now this is our leg, right? You know, if this was the previous high, you know, kind of just connect your dots. So I like the weakness we're seeing in this. And again, we had divergence, right? So I wasn't too concerned with AU not creating the low. Now these are going to go off. I wasn't concerned with AU not creating the low because NU did, right? NU already gave us that sign of weakness. NU was, you know, huge divergence in it. You know, so unfortunately, I didn't get to partake in AU because by the time I woke up, we were like here, right? And there just wasn't anything for me to really get involved with. I mean, I could have played order flow, but yeah, it's Tuesday, right? I'm not going to force anything on a Tuesday. So yeah, that's ultimately how I managed it. And what I'm going to be looking for now is I'm looking to see, can we come back and mitigate this price action right here? Because that's our manipulation, right? So I'm going to move, let's see, I'm actually going to move my alert now that we've broken this. So I'm going to move my alert down here, and that's where I'm going to be looking for my that's where I'm going to be looking for my shorts, right? I like the redistribution that causes the break, right? So if we get a distribution in this area right here, I'm definitely going to partake in it. And of course, if we get something up here in this 80%, that's what I'm going to partake in. So I'd like to see us get a distribution in there. Really, that's the only way I'm going to get into a trade is through a distribution. You know, I don't care what time frame the distribution prints on. It could be a 1 second for all I care. I just need to wait for us to come up into that area. So same price action on EU and GU. Now NU is going to be the same exact thing, right? I'm going to be sitting, and you can see like this was my thought process on NU this morning. Once we confirmed the break, I just wanted to see us come back up into this area. So nothing's really changed other than the fact that we now have, right? We have this new leg low on order flow. So which means that New York price action right here is what's maintaining our entire leg. And I like the, you know, like when I look at this price action, the one thing that it tells me is selling orders getting filled, right? We get that nice manipulation of Asian price action, sweeping liquidity. You know, we end up coming in and redistributing. Last night's Frankfurt price action gave that manipulation. You know, was this the mitigation? To me, it was. So I'd like to see us come back. And that's why this is the area I'm looking at. I want to see if we can mitigate this price action right here. You know, and if we can do that, great. I'll end up taking this to make a new low on it. Right. Hold on, bear with me. There we go. There we go. Okay, cool. Let's see. What I was referring to is if the banks have a monthly schedule during the year, where do they go on vacation and there's not much volume? No clue, man. Yeah. I mean, I know just from past experience, the last 2 weeks of September, you're going to get low volume, but yeah, during the summertime, sure, traders take vacation, man. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, the banks are still trading. Okay. Yeah. So NU, I mean, this is pretty much what I'm looking for in NU. And, you know, I'm not going to, you know, my advice, don't get that tunnel vision, right? Like, look where we're at. The price action is pretty clean. You know, when we broke this right here, right, and order flow shifted, and now that we are on the way to break this is still, right, this is going to be that new leg. So could we come back into the original redistribution? We could, you know. So the one thing that I'm definitely not going to be looking for is any buys on this. I'm going to be continuing to look for the shorts. So that's all of the dollar crosses. Do I look for schematics on lower timeframes in comparison to my areas of interest? I wouldn't say in comparison. I would say in conjunction. So if it's not in a point of interest, I'm not going lower time frame to even look for a schematic, right? So yeah, like once it comes into the point of interest that I'm looking at, that's where I'm looking for that schematic to present itself. On the UCAD side, so you know, UCAD's actually playing pretty nice. You know, I'm expecting, like I said last week, I'm expecting us to come back into the accumulation that I caught 2 weeks ago. You know, ideally, do we need to come all the way deep into it? No. I mean, realistically, I'm gonna set an alert when we get up here, and I mean, it's probably a good 200 pips away, so it's not of any concern yet. But once we get into there, that's where I want to start to see some evidence of buying coming in. If we don't get that evidence, what's the other way that I'm going to get into this trade? And, you know, I was looking this morning, actually I was looking yesterday, right? Yeah, I was looking yesterday, and we just didn't get the evidence. You know, for me, the fact that we come within a pip of breaking supply right in here, because we failed to break this high, that really just turned me off to the trade, because this was a schematic, right? This is a schematic 1, 2, 3 drive. Here's your spring. You know, I had to measure it out on the 80, and then we get another schematic in here, but obviously we never break, right? So because we never break and we never reaccumulate, there was no trade for me to take in here. But again, this was the immediate like red flag for me. Like, why do we come a pip from breaking supply and then not You know, essentially we just distributed out of previous supply and made a new low. So what gets me into a trade is either we come lower, right, or we break order flow. So at this point, this right here is maintaining my order flow. So if we do break this, right, and go to the upside, okay, so now I can expect us to come back maybe into London price action and mitigate before we go higher. But there's nothing for me to do until at least London or New York tomorrow. And it's going to involve this order flow getting broken right here. So once we break this order flow, then I can go ahead and attempt to play out of this schematic here. Right. So let me just. Okay. Yeah, bear with me 1 second. Hold on. Let me just see. All right, there we go. There we go. Hold on. Trying to get the stupid chat back up. Give me a sec, guys. All right, there we go. All right, perfect. Okay. All right, cool. All right, there we go. I make sure that those are on. Yeah, so UCAD, I mean, that's really all I'm watching. I need us to get above here first, right? I need us to get up here first. And if we don't get up there, then I'm just going to wait for it to come lower. All right. I'm still holding my buys from 2 weeks ago out of here. You know, obviously I've taken significant volume off because this was my 350 pip move that I wanted to take out the high. So we did take out the high, and now this accumulation is what maintaining my leg. So if we get down there, great. You know, if we get down in here, this is where I'm going to be looking, you know, right out of here. And if not, I'm going to wait for the reaccumulation to present itself to then come back into my shakeout, which would probably be something like that to go higher. Right. So overall, I'm still very much bullish on UCAD, and we could see that volatility this week, especially with the OPEC meetings. Right. And then rounding out, oh, you know what? Where is UCHEF? Where is UCHEF? I think UCHEF's on, oh yeah, UCHEF's on my secondary list. So UCHEF has a ways to go, right? UCHEF either has to come all the way down into here, into this accumulation, or we need to come all the way up and break the high, right? So we're talking, you know, 300 pips either which way. So that's why it's sitting on my secondary list. There's not much for me to do with UCHEF. And on the UJ side, right? UJ, it's just a matter of just waiting for the break. So, you know, this is just going to be order flow, right? What we have here, this is our reaccumulation, right? Here's your distribution, that's your shakeout. And what I was really hoping for, I was hoping for us to get down into this area here so that I can take my buy to take this up. And unfortunately, UJ is just continuing to do what it's done for the most of the year. It's just not play nice. So at this point, what I want to see is where we're at. I want to see this just break the high. And if this breaks the high, this New York candle is what I want to see us come back into. So ideally, I'll be looking. I think I marked it up already. Let's see. Yeah. So there it is right there. So ideally, what I'll be looking for is just a break. There we go. Just a break above this high and come back in to this move right here. This is what I want to see us mitigate an accumulation to go higher with. And we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I'm very much bullish on it. I'm not really trying to counter trend this. I don't want to sell it. Nothing about UJ is giving me weakness. Just look at the 4 hour. There's absolutely no reason to try to short this thing. So I'm going to continue to go higher with it. I'm expecting us to get up in that 140.25 area, right? That's where I'm looking for us to get up to. And if we can get there, great. I mean, that's potentially where we're going to see a potential reversal, right? Because it's just an area of supply over there that maybe we get back down into mitigating this, but I'm not going to hold my breath, until we see some significant weakness in UJ. We're going to continue to go higher. And if you look at maybe like FXCM, let's see. Yeah. So if you look at FXCM, why do I think maybe this will be an area where we're going to do it? Just because it's maintaining the leg. But I'm 100% convinced we're going to take the high. And what gives me that conviction is, like I said, just look at futures. And if you come over here and look at yen futures has already broken that low, right? So we've already taken out that low on yen futures. And that's going to give me, from a comparable strength, that's going to give me the conviction that UJ is going to take out that high. All right. So that's kind of like my outlook on UJ, right? I'm very, very much bullish on it. CAD Chef, we were looking at CAD Chef this morning. So this is kind of my thought process, right? Like I wanted to see, there we go. I wanted to see us come back and play into this price action right here. All right. Here's the 80% of it. We did tap into it, and I just need to see evidence of buying coming into the market. So looking at it from this aspect, what am I waiting for here? I want to see this alert. I want to see us break above this high. We have evidence of buying coming in. We have a reaccumulation going in here. Even on lower time frame, I was looking for a potential buy out of this. And what I wanted to see was just a schematic present itself, right? I wanted to see us come back into this price action from yesterday, New York, give me a schematic so that we can take this higher. And I just, for me, I know a couple of guys were looking at it this morning. I was looking at it as well, but this gave me no entry, right? There's absolutely nothing for me to take an entry out of this. So I did get in here. I did take an entry right here once we confirmed this type 1 off that break. And then, of course, as we made that high, I reduced risk. And then when we came back in and we saw this reaction and broke order flow here, I just went break even. And then this thing just collapsed. So I think I ended up losing, like just the spread, which was like $16 or something. But this is what I was looking at here out of this schematic here, and that being my spring, but we didn't break until the afternoon of New York section. And once we broke afternoon time, that was it. I was kind of done trading. So let's see, what is my thought process on this? On the 1 hour, what do you mean? What's the thought? Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing I'm looking at, right? I need us to break that high. Yep. I need us to, there it is. Where is my, no, there it is. Yeah. I need us to break this high right here. So once we break that high, right, and we confirm the break of order flow from this leg. Yeah, I mean, that's at that point, this is going to be maintaining the leg. So this potentially could be it, but for me, it's not anything I'm going to set a limit order on. I'm not, what are you talking here? You're talking, so 57. So you're talking, it's a 23 pip stop loss is what you're looking at playing here. So for me, it's not worth the risk, yeah, I'd rather just wait for a tighter entry on it. So yeah, no, there wasn't much to, I personally, I got into CAD Chef this morning. And I've just been managing. Oh, you know what? I did get into an EG that ended up breaking me even. But I didn't put much into it. I figured we were going to come a little lower. What's my analysis on Nasdaq 100? We're bearish. Yeah, I mean, overall, we're bearish on it. So say we do this, right? This becomes my slingshot. This is my extreme. You know, I'd be looking for an accumulation here. I'd be looking for an accumulation out of this. And there is, I think I looked at it this morning, there is a schematic down in here that gave itself. So, I mean, there may be a way to, you know, tighten up the stop loss in there. So yeah, I'm definitely looking for the bullishness on CAD Chef. I like what I'm doing. You know, when you look at this price action, you know, what do? Buyers got filled. Buy orders got filled, 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 and they're filling way more buy orders here. The one thing I don't see is any supply and control. So, you know, this really tells me the story of price action. What it's telling me is that this thing is going to go higher. You know, and it's, again, the location of where it's at makes sense because that's ideally, where is it? That's ideally, yeah, that's ideally what I wanted to see whenever I did this back in beginning of June. I wanted to see us play out of this area here. So that's what I like. You're expecting more upside movement. Yep. Yeah, I agree. I'm waiting for the big sell from the distribution area. So yeah, I'm expecting us to play back. You know, I wanted to buy from lower areas on indices and I'm going to sell from my distribution area. The one thing I'm not going to make sure I'm going to make sure I don't do is I'm not missing the short. So yeah. Does the chef increase in interest rates affect your bias at all? Nope, absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not. So, you know, like if we look at, well, heck, all we got to do is just look at UChef, right? And if we, I guess UChef's on my secondary list. So you can look at UChef on the 4 hour, right? And, you know, is UChef showing any weakness? No. Right. I mean, we're bullish. We're bullish here. So, you know, what am I expecting? I'm expecting us to come back into this, right, before going higher. That coincides and correlates exactly with what's going on futures, right? We come over to the Swiss bank futures and all it is UChef inversed, right? Same thing. Like what am I expecting? I'm expecting, you know, this was the break, right? We broke the 2015. I'm not the 2015. We broke the COVID spike, right? So I want to see us come into here to short off. So yeah, I mean, potentially you know, we're going to see an appreciation of the Swiss bank. Not much. I mean, it's just going to go into our sell area. So that's ultimately what I'm going to be waiting for. Yeah. Yeah. For me, fundamentals aren't changing my bias, right? You know, it's the fundamentals are just the reason to do it, you know? So US dollar Swiss franc shows a weak Swiss franc. Yeah. Yep. It shouldn't have much strength against the CAD. So yeah, but what are you measuring the Canadian dollar to, right? So for me, I can look at, you know, you can look at the futures market and look at US dollar Swiss franc and you can benchmark against each other on it. For me, there's, you know, I mean, there's ways that you can figure out what the Canadian dollar is doing, but just because the US dollar is bullish doesn't mean the Canadian dollar is going to be bullish, right? So, how do you spot market trickery? Sometimes the market will show you signs of strength and price action only to drag the market back down. How do you determine if it's actual strength or market manipulation? Well, it depends. Like, are you talking about broker manipulation or are you talking about the actual institutional moves? Because the institutional moves aren't, I mean, I don't know. I guess, you know, we can debate about like what actual manipulation is. You know, do I consider a type 1 distribution, right, with a UTAD, is that the manipulation? For all intents and purposes, it is, right? It's manipulating the market to fill their remaining sell orders in this area up here, right? But for me, that's not like true manipulation. Like I'm expecting that, right? I'm looking for that, and I'm going to play the mitigation of that. You know, what I look for as, you know, like in manipulation is where, you know, you're taking an entry. Let's say I'm taking an entry out of this accumulation here, and for some reason I get stopped out by my broker, but the market truly doesn't go there, and it's because the spread widened or because they didn't have enough liquidity to fill me. That for me is broker manipulation. Like I very rarely do I see. I mean, I can't tell you the last time I saw something that didn't make sense, right? Some kind of price action that didn't make sense. You know, the key for me is when you're looking at price action, you want to ask yourself, one, who is controlling that price action? Is it supply or is it demand? You know, once you identify if it's supply, if buyers are in control or sellers are in control, then it'll tell the story of why or the reasons that price action is acting the way it is. I can tell you, and I'm sure there's a bunch of people on here that can attest to it. Once you truly understand that price action, it's 100% easy to figure it out, right? It's 100% easy to see who's in control and what the next play is. And then game plan that play. You know, one of the things I like to do is I always make myself like, all right, so how do I get into the trade? Well, option A is, we distribute, right? All right. Well, if we don't distribute, what do I need to see? Option B is I need to see the accumulation turn into a redistribution, right? And then I'll play the redistribution. And then if that doesn't play out, what do I need to see? I need to see the entire leg break, and then we'll come back later on to mitigate. So, and then of course that's off of a bearish market, So, for me, when it comes to like manipulation, I would say that it's not something that I see a lot of, right? I mean, you expect to some degree the manipulation, but it's, if it's expected, is it truly manipulation? You know what I mean? So I would say that if you're falling for, whatever that price action is, ask yourself, one, who is in control of that market? And if you're looking for a sign of strength out of an accumulation, and did you violate supply out of that accumulation? Is that accumulation in an area of previous demand? Because if it's not, then yeah, I mean, that's what you're falling for. You're falling for an accumulation that had all the characteristics of a redistribution, and essentially your sign of strength was just the shakeout to, shake out weak-handed sellers. So, go back and I guess like revisit that price action and ask yourself, okay, so first, who was in control of this market? And two, what was the intent? Because something and I guess experience, training your eye and looking at price action teaches you over the years is you can, I mean, at least I can at this point, I can see very quickly, what's going to turn into a redistribution and why, and then it's just a matter of assigning risk to it. Hold on, what you got, bro? When you get to NAS, can you check out my chart? Yeah, bro. I'll pull it up. Hold on. Just remind me when we get to NAS. I'm very curious to see what the hell you were trying to get out of NAS, because I looked at the market today. I was like, yeah, I don't know. Were you trying to take the buy out of it? Well, I'll get to it. No worries. I'll get to it. Yeah, you got it. Okay. All right, cool. So I don't even know where the heck we were. I think we were talking about UJ, right? Let's see. So, oh no, we're talking about CAD Chef, right? CAD Chef. Yeah. So CAD Chef, I mean, like I said, I'm looking for those buys. Let me see. All right. I got the Discord open. Got it, bro. Yeah. So I'm looking for the buys. And of course, I'm just waiting for the strength. So for me, This is a sign of strength, right? Because we take out previous supply here. And that'll vindicate it as a sign of strength for me. And of course, I'll be looking for mitigation to take this higher. All right. Much like CAD Chef, CAD J, I'm looking for buys, right? I'm looking for buys on it. Where are we? This is pretty much where we are. We have the initial break right here. So this was my sign of strength. I was hoping to get price back into here or into mitigating here. So I know I wasn't trading a lot last week. Actually, I didn't trade hardly anything past Wednesday. Price does come into the area that I want it to play out of, real easy price action, reaccumulation, you get a Frankfurt manipulation, New York coming back to mitigate, make the high, lo and behold, what do we have? Asian price action with a London manipulation, right? London sweeps and then makes the high. So I was looking for price to come back into this price action. This was my buy area. And I think it comes back in like Friday, right? Yeah, it comes back. Of course, it comes in Friday, always Friday. Comes back in Friday during New York session and gives a really clean accumulation. So actually, does it come into the 80? Yeah, it does. Look at that. Comes right. Oh, I guess maybe it came into, maybe there's something in here that it came into, but it does come into the 80. I mean, I'm not gonna, it was a 5 pip stop loss. But we get a type 1, right? I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 drives, and then that's your spring, right? That's your manipulation that you're expecting. So what am I, what am I looking for? I'm looking for price to come back in here. This was the sell. Here's your buy. I want to see price come back in here. And especially after us breaking and showing that sign of strength, what am I looking for? I'm looking for price now to come back and give me something, because now we have a new leg, right? We had a high. Here's your new high. So this is what's maintaining this leg. I'd love to see this come on down. And I'm actually, I'll be taking a small limit order out of it. What is it? It's an 8 pip stop off the 80. And hold on. One sec. There we go. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I'll be taking half my entry is going to be off the schematic. It's an 8 pip stop loss off the limit order. So I'm going to do half off the schematic and half off my limit order, just because I think I can do a better job than 8 pips, right? It's still worth it for me because to a new high, it's a 1 to 33. So I'll take it. I like where it's at. Zooming out, what's the overall target? Overall target's to make a new high, right? So ideally, maybe we can get something like this, make a new high, right? This becomes the SC, the reaccumulation, and then this becomes the new leg, right? So, again, all of this is order flow, right? All of this is order flow. We're still massively within order flow. Nothing about this is leg structure, right? We are this exact thing right here. I mean, we are just nothing, no kind of pullback whatsoever, right? So, I mean, this was the closest thing to a pullback that we got out of this price action. Is sign of weakness absolutely necessary for when it's in distro? Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a must. You need a sign of weakness in order to show weakness, right? So otherwise, that's probably the single most characteristic of a reaccumulation. It's a distribution with no weakness. Chances are you're going to reaccumulate. So on CAD-J, that's what I'll be looking for. Potentially this is something that maybe tomorrow, maybe even Thursday, right? I mean, we're a good ways away. We are, solid 200 pips, solid 200 pips away from the area. So I'll look to see, I've got my alert underneath Asian lows, and if we come back into this move here, that's what I'm going to be playing. Do I mind going over gold? I can, but I'll tell you pretty easily what gold is doing. Absolutely nothing. I have no real clue what, I'll tell you this. I think silver has a cleaner play than gold, because gold is just sideways. You know, am I bearish on gold? Nope. I think we're still massively bullish on it, but there's really nothing I want to play out on gold, you know. When I was learning, what were my biggest difficulties? Oof, man. I guess, you know, I'll tell you this, it's probably, and I think this is something a lot of people fall into, is they look up a chart, right? They type in, you know, Wyckoff accumulation, and they find a chart from Ruben Villamosa's book, right? They find a chart and they're like, oh, look, a schematic. And then all they do is they copy this and they put it on a chart and say, look, we're in an accumulation. The hardest thing I think is learning what is happening in each one of these places, because this right here is not a schematic I'll ever trade. I'll tell you that right now. Even a type 1 is not a schematic I'll ever trade. So I would say that the hardest thing is developing your confirmations for entry and then managing the trade itself. Yeah. I mean, I'll go over gold. I'll give you my piece on it, you know, but I guarantee I don't think it's going to be helpful, because for me, gold is just, one, in no man's land, and two, no clear direction or bias. Am I going to play a seconds redistro or a reaccumulation? Am I going to risk the same as if I played a type 1? So in theory, yes, but maybe no. So it all depends on the scenario, right? Like, if, you know, I'll give you two instances, right? So for me to get on a seconds time frame to play an accumulation or a distribution, right, it means that we're on a higher time frame point of interest. So yes, I'm going to give it the same risk. But let's say that this isn't a 5-minute chart. Let's say this is a 4-hour chart, right? And I have this as my point of interest in this leg, and inside of the 80%, I have a micro schematic. Am I gonna put half my risk on this and then half my risk on that micro down there? No. You're right. Those are ones that I'll throw like $50, $100 at, because one, I don't need to risk a lot. I mean, most of those entries are 1 pip stop losses, right? If the move I'm looking to take is 800 pips, you know, that's a 1 to 800. I don't need to risk a lot of money on that. Two, I don't want to put a lot of money on high volume for that trade when I don't have a lot of confidence that we're going to come back to it. So I'll assign some risk to it, but it won't be the same as, you know, a higher time frame schematic. It's okay. I mean, we'll get to it. I mean, I don't mind, you know, but it's just, yeah, like, I don't know. For me, gold is nowhere, you know. I mean, I know you mentioned that there's a distro on it. Like, what are they distributing out of? You know, what's to the left that they're distributing out of? And that's the problem. All right, let's move over to Chef J. So not that I'm partial to it, but, you know, watch out. We made an all-time high, right? We broke the high, and actually, hold on, what are we even at right now? So that one order I'm holding from September, this damn thing is now at so this thing broke a 1 to almost 1800, 1 to 1800, and the order off the 2-hour candle is at a 1 to 330. So somebody asked me this morning, I looked it up. I think off this one order, the smaller order that I only risked $50 at, I think I've paid now 700. I think it was like $787 in swap fee is what I've paid so far on it. So, and I'm only holding $12.50 worth of volume left. But I mean, look at it. There's no reason for me to close this damn trade. Yeah, I'm going to continue to just keep holding it. Obviously, I really wanted to see us come back into this, and she's just not having it. I really wanted to see us come back into this, and she's not having it. So Chef J, I mean, I'm just playing order flow, right? I'm going to take these small little order flow plays. and just keep going up with it, right? The most recent order flow is going to be here, right? This is our most recent order flow. So if now we can come back, and my alert, because of this high, right? We broke. I'm not really concerned about this. What I'm concerned about is this reaccumulation here and that price action, or I'm concerned about this price action here. And I'll tell you right now, I have a limit order set right there off of the micro accumulation that happens in here. It's worth the risk for me. If we come back today, if we come back and come into here tonight, tomorrow, whatever, this is what I want us to mitigate that move. And obviously, if we trade below Asian price action and we come into here, this for me is my line in the sand from order flow. So if you haven't done it, I definitely suggest taking a look at what happened down here. Super, super clean schematic. I mean, there she is right there. That's your spring, right? That's your spring right there. So I measured it out. I mean, what is it? It's a 5 pip stop. So off of this. So I really like it. I mean, this is the cause of the break. That's essentially what's maintaining your leg. And I like it because what did it do? It essentially, you've got a larger schematic, right? You got a larger schematic and you manipulated Asian lows. So, you took out that liquidity and you accumulated. What happened here? Buy order, buy order, buy order, buy order, buy order. And how do you know that was it? Because look what happened afterwards, right? Volume comes in, we're gone. So I like Chef J for the buy. We just need the pullback now. You can kind of see me following along this entire thing. I just haven't been able to work an entry in until we can come back into some area of demand. I'm just going to sit back and wait on it. So this is what I'm going to be looking for. I do like that London price action there. And of course I do like this manipulation. This was JPY news that kind of presented itself. So if we come back and mitigate, I'm taking this higher, right? And my first target's going to be a new high, right? So we'll see how high we can get with this. I don't put limit orders when there is Asian high. So I don't do limit orders out of Asian price action. Yeah. The only exception is if that Asian price action was a news event, right? Because we know the news is going to be the manipulation. So I'll play the mitigation of it. But yeah, I personally don't set limit orders out of Asian price action. Yeah. So that's Chef J. And I bet you can guess that AJ and NJ I'm looking for buys as well, right? So, where we're sitting, definitely bullish on this. The break of order flow here really gave me the indication, we're stuck in this order flow leg. And what do? We came back into discount and we started to see evidence of buyers coming into this market, right? So let me get like 1 minute here. I guess we'll stay 5 minutes. Yeah, we'll stay 5 minutes. So, ideally what I want to see is I want to see us now come back in and give us some kind of mitigation. So this to me right here is what I want us to come back and mitigate. This is what ultimately is maintaining this leg. I've got an alert at Asian lows. Let's come on down. Let's sweep it. Let's build a schematic in here to take this higher. Right. That's what I'm going to be waiting for. I like the buy on it. I've been bullish on AJ, been bullish on NJ for a while. Same thing on NJ, NJ for me, super, super clean. What do we have? We're in that area right now. Unfortunately, I'm not taking a trade during Asian. So, but we are in that area. This is what I want to see, lo and behold, it looks like it's building an accumulation. The only problem I have is that we're still in this bearish leg, right? So yes, we've built lower time frame order flow here, but I'll look to see where we're at tomorrow morning when I wake up. And of course, if we do something like this, say I wake up and we've done this, okay, well, we just reaccumulated, right? All I got to do is just move this box over. We do something like that. And I know that that's ideally what I'm going to come back and play out of, something like this to take it higher. So, I'm very much bullish on them. I'm just going to be patient with them. The overall cycle, can we come lower? Can this come into here and then break? Sure. This could be just a redistribution on a larger time frame that gets us back into our manipulation, right? Which is this. Here's your accumulation. That's your spring. What do? We confirmed the accumulation and we violated, areas of supply. I don't care that we didn't make a new high, right? For me, I look at things a little differently. I know a lot of people may look at failing to break a high as weakness. I don't, right? For me, until we break some kind of structure, and in this case for me, NJ, what's maintaining my leg? This right here. So until this actually breaks, I'm not going to be bearish on this. This is still very, very, very much bullish. So I shouldn't be asleep. Now for me, it's only, what time? It's only 8 o'clock. So yeah. I don't wake up for London, man. I wake up London crossover. So, and especially on early in the week, I don't wake up early at all. I just make sure Thursdays and Fridays I'm up early. So, but that's kind of what I'm looking at, NJ, right? EG, I'll tell you what, we were looking at EG today for buys, right? We're looking for buys. And here's something I'm kind of looking at. So we were looking for buys out of this price action in here, but ideally what I want to see is from an order flow perspective, right? We're here. And this is my slingshot, after confirming this accumulation, right? We come back to 50% of it. And then we kind of give that movement to the upside, that expansionary move. So I'd like to see if we can come back in here. The fact that we just didn't take off kind of tells me that we're probably going to come back down. So, just from order flow, this is what I'm paying attention to, bigger picture. Can we come lower? Yeah, absolutely. 100% we can come lower, but, that's really all I'm going to be paying attention to on EG is just going to be out of the order flow leg. And, if we come lower into structure, so be it. I'll get to indices in a second. So here's, no, geez, hold on. People must be walking their dogs in front of my house. Yeah. So here's my piece on gold, right? When we look at the 4 hour, so let's see. So when we look at, let me get a cleaner chart. There we go. All right. So I'll just do this, I guess. So when we broke this, our order flow is now this, right? But we never made a new high. So we're still in this bullish leg. Is this the slingshot of order flow that causes this break? Yes. Did it come into an area of, a point of interest? Absolutely. Could this be the reaccumulation? It can be. But for the most part, what have we done for the last 3 months? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. We have just sat here and done nothing. And for me, like when I look at gold, I guess, hold on. Is this the distribution you're talking about right here? Because if that's the distribution, just from a market cycle perspective, that's not going to be a distribution for me. Like this is your accumulation. You need the distribution to tap into an area of demand so that you can potentially have a reaccumulation. But this to me is not in a supply area, right? Because in order for that to be in a supply area, this would have had to have broken some kind of structure, and it didn't, right? Like when we look at from a leg perspective, this low creates this high. So this would be a supply area for me, right? Because it's what caused the break. When we look at like this redistribution, right? We can see that played into that redistribution, and we come in here low. Could we argue? Can you stretch it to say that's in a supply area? The problem is this is all just order flow, because this just redistro wasn't able to even break this low, right? Because of this here, you're like that, right? So yeah, for me, this is just nothing. Like I honestly, when I look at gold, I mean, I'm better off just doing something like this. Hold on. Move it over here. There we go. Yeah, I'm better off just doing something like that and not even paying attention to it, because it's not something that's giving me a lot of directional bias. You know, I would much rather look at silver, and with silver, I know, all right, well, we're bearish, you know, and I'm going to be looking, where is my, yeah, here we go. You know, silver, I'm, there we go. Silver, we're bearish. And obviously, like we broke in here, you know, we end up tapping into supply. So this leg is this, you know, if we come back up into this area here, I'd be shorting it down. But, you know, for me, I'm not trying to short it from here, wait for a pullback. You know, I want to see Chem price get back up into this area here, and then we short. So that's kind of my piece on metals. Like I'm not interested in trying to fight. How long has this price action been? I'm not trying to fight 30, 40, 50 days of price action. It's just not worth it for me, you know? Yeah. All right, let's jump over to some indices, right? Hold on. So we'll start with U30, right? For me, I mean, when we're looking at this chart, and I got to clean it up, but when we're looking at this chart, nothing, nothing has changed my bias, right? Like this distro is where we're selling from, right? I mean, this is what's maintaining my lower time frame leg. This is where we're coming, right? This is that sell that I caught. We caught it like 2 weeks ago. This is the sell we caught, make a new low. And, you know, where we're at right now, I mean, I'm honestly, I'm looking for buys out of here to then make a new high to get up into here so I can short it, right? That's ideally what I want to look for. So like this morning, what I was looking at was I wanted to see, I think if I remember correctly, I think I said that, you know, option A is we break the low, come back and short out of here to take it lower. So, you know, going into tomorrow's New York session, right? Going into tomorrow's New York session, I'm a buyer from here, right? You can see my alert setting down there. I'm a buyer from here. I'm a seller from here, right? Obviously, if we come down here, I'm not going to be a seller from here. If we go up first, which I would love to, because I would love to catch this short down. I don't think this is the short that gets us to a new low. Nowhere close to it, because when we zoom out, it's in no man's land. There's nothing for me to short out of this, right? There's no reason for us to short. When we look at this, this is where the orders were, right? This is where supply is sitting, not this little thing, not this little thing, right? This is where supply is sitting. So like I said, I mean, I'd like for this to come down eventually, because this is the buy that I'll hedge up. And then this is the sell I'm not missing. I am not missing this right here. This is what I'm taking to make a new low, right? Is there a correlation between US 30 and DXY? No. It's different fundamentals, right? You can have bullish dollar and you can have bullish indices, right? You can have bearish dollar, bullish indices. So if you know, just keep in mind, like, what makes up indices, right? It's Dow Jones. It's a 30 stock markets, right? The 30 top stocks, right? What makes up Nasdaq? It's the top 100 tech stocks. You know, SPX, top 500, you know, US companies. Those have no correlation to what the currency of the dollar is, you know? So, you know, now from a fundamental bias, you know, the whole reason why we're seeing so much strength coming into the US dollar is why? Because of its safe haven status. So if, you know, and this is something I said, I think like 2 weeks ago, if you look at all the stocks, right? I mean, it's no secret, right? Look at all of the top stocks, right? I mean, look at Amazon, right? What is Amazon? What is Amazon doing, right? Amazon distributed, right? Distributed and potentially looking to come back into the reaccumulation, right? Okay. What's another one? Let's see. What did Google do? All right. Google distributed, right? Google distributed. And ideally, what are you looking for? You're looking for price to come back into that COVID spike, right? You look at all of these big companies, they're all in distribution. I mean, what's Tesla doing, right? Look at Tesla. Tesla's in distribution, right? Tesla's in distribution, and look at that. Geez, when did I do this? Yeah, but I mean, imagine that we come into 80% of the last leg. So when you see distribution out of these stocks, what are they doing? They're taking their profits. They got to park it somewhere. Well, what's the ultimate safe haven? US dollar. So that's why we're seeing the dollar appreciate, and why we're seeing indices go down is because people are moving from a risk on sentiment to a risk off sentiment, So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Because the US 30 distro didn't happen high enough. Hold on. That's why you're going to buy from the demand, hoping price makes another drive up. Yeah, I mean, and if it doesn't, like if I'm completely wrong if I'm completely wrong, right, and we completely sell off from here, what am I out? I'm out my 0.25% risk that I take the buy out of, but I'm still holding my shorts out of here, right? I've got like sell there, sell there, sell there, sell there, sell there. And I've got sells out of here. I've got sells. I think I got the sell out of up there as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm hedged in, so I don't mind. But yeah, for me, this is not an area of supply. So this is where I'm selling from. Yeah. Can I explain what I mean by distros and accumulations? Yeah, probably not, man. I've got, my wife's got me on a timetable tonight. I'd say research Wyckoff. Dive into some of my videos. Actually, you know what? Watch that Wyckoff intro video. Bear with you. It's like 5 hours long, but yeah, I mean, people have said it's helped them out. Watch that video. That'll probably give you a little better understanding. Yeah, because short answer, distros is where supply comes into the market to short sell. Accumulations is where they come in with buy orders. So, yeah, you got it, man. Just go on my YouTube. Just type in Wyckoff intro. It's there. Like I said, it's the only video that's like 5 hours. So anyway, so U30, yeah. I mean, I'm expecting us to get the buy. I was trying to buy it this morning, or at least this afternoon. I was trying to buy it, but we never got any kind of confirmation. I mean, you can kind of see what I was doing here with U30. Like I wanted, playing out of the order flow. I was looking at this accumulation, and I guess I can delete this order, right? Or delete this limit. So we never broke, right? If we would have broken, I would have played out of here. And then I kind of just watched it, same thing here. I did take an order here. I did play here. And did I play out of this? Maybe I didn't. You know what? Maybe I didn't, just because I wasn't getting confluence in it. So I was looking to see if we reaccumulated. And then you can see, like, I was looking, all right, maybe 3 drives, maybe this is my spring. And I was like, all right, so if we break here, maybe I take out of there. But we just showed no strength, right? We weren't breaking anything. I take it back. This is the entry I took. So I did come in here and I did take this entry here. I got filled off the 80% here. And then as soon as we shoot up, reduce my risk, we come back in. And I think I end up taking a trade on the seconds time frame out of here. And then, of course, we make a new high. So everything for me was reduce risk. And then, here comes power hour and we just collapse on it. So I did try to buy indices this morning, or I'm sorry, this afternoon, but it just didn't play out. And then you can kind of see my thought in here. Like I was looking, all right, we're in a large schematic, right? 1 drive, 2 drive, 3 drive. This is our spring. But by that time, it's 4 o'clock my time. Stock market's closed, and then you get this typical price action. So, there's really nothing for me to do with this. I'm curious to see if, we do get back up into that sell area that I'm going to be looking at. Essentially it's going to be, your distribution. Where's that manipulation right there? So if we do get up into here, right, this is where I want to sell to get down into my next buy area. So, all right, let's see. When it came back, it stopped you out at reduced risk. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, DR. You talking about here? Yeah, it did, bro. Yeah. Yeah, the second entry reduced risk. The first entry was break even then. Yeah, and here, hold on. I got your Nasdaq chart here. So you played. We'll look at Nasdaq. So wait, this was 1142. So what is that? 242 for me. I think it's the same price action, right? I think it's the same price action. We'll look at it. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go to Nasdaq. Hold on. Didn't those accumulations happen after US 30 broke the smaller bullish structure? After it broke the smaller bullish structure. What are you talking about? You talking about this right here? Now I was expecting us to break Asian lows. Where I was playing out of was New York session, right? Ideally, this is what I was looking at here. So I wanted to play into that. So I didn't mind playing out of it. And you can kind of see like this, we're starting to build a schematic in it. Yeah, we're starting to build a schematic in it. Yeah. But ideally this is where I want to play into. I want to come into that accumulation right there. That's what I want to play into. So this is the most recent reaccumulation here. Yeah. Yeah. Hold on, bear with me. Okay. Yeah. What is the session indicator called? You can use any of them. Sessions on chart. I mean, yeah, you can use, you type in, that's one. Sessions. What is it? Sessions on chart that you can go to. Right here, sessions on chart. You can pretty much use any of them. I mean, I've got like 3 or 4 of them that I'll use. Okay. So yeah. I mean, for me, this was an area of demand. It was New York session, right? That's the New York Open that I want us to come back into. On Nasdaq, hold on, let's see where you're at, bro. So yeah, same thing with Nasdaq. Like I was looking for a potential buy out of here, if it gave it. I honestly didn't even look at Nasdaq. I preferred SPX and US 30. Yeah, it gave absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right. So you were looking, what was that price level? That was at 11,664. So you were looking down in here. I got you. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know. I honestly think we're going to come a little lower. I think ideally this is probably where I want to see us come into right in here. So yeah, bro, I'll see you in the morning, man. Have a good one. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, it just never confirmed any bullishness. That's the problem. Like even when we're playing here, 1 drive, 2 drive, 3 drive. I mean, we're not seeing any breaks. You know, even on here. Hold on, let's see. I mean, when it comes back in, it just never gives you the break. Yeah. And we just started getting, it got to the point where we're just getting way too late in the day. Yeah. Keep in mind too, though. So I know what you mean by it broke here, right? I don't know. I wasn't even looking at Nasdaq, to be honest, though, just because I didn't like the bigger picture on Nasdaq. For me, like when you get up on this 15, this was the area that I was watching, and we blew right through it. Yeah. And then SPX, same kind of thing, like as U30, we had the distribution. So hold on, let's see. There we go. So yeah, like where do I want to sell from? I mean, it's this right here is where I want to sell from. So this, I think, is just going to get us into this area for us to make the new push up to the upside, and this is kind of, yeah, here you go. This is what I was looking at this morning. I wanted to see, okay, do we continue with order flow? Right. And, I was looking to see if we get option A was my buy out of here. If we got price action in there to give me a buy, I'd take it, but there's nothing. I mean, there's absolutely nothing here. And then out of the sell, once we confirmed the distribution, right? Once we confirmed distribution here, I wanted to see us come back up to mitigate New York Open. We didn't get that either. So the only other thing that it's going to happen is we're going to come into my buy area. So what's my buy area? My buy area is this price action, right? This is that London Open that reaccumulated. And I mean, this is the area I was waiting for us to come into. So we're there now. I could care less. I'm not going to trade it. But I wanted to see if price gave me evidence of buying, right? Here's something I was looking at, ultimately I wanted to see, okay, what do we do? How do we, no, let me go that back. There we go. How can I work an entry in here? What's the color on the chat represent? What do you mean the color on the chat? The chart? It's just certain sessions that I like to look at. So my Frankfurt hour, my New York stock market hours that I look for entries, and then Asian session. I always like to identify my Asian open. So yeah, I mean, I was looking in here, I didn't take this trade, but, I was looking to see, okay, well, where did it come into? We had a micro in here that it taps into. I was waiting to see, okay, do we end up reaccumulating and maybe taking out this? We just never saw signs of strength. Like these are all just redistributions, right? Redistributions. So I was waiting to see, do we get that sign of strength? So yeah. And then here we are, right? I mean, this is where we're sitting right now. We're sitting in an accumulation. I honestly don't have a lot of faith that this is going to play out. I mean, maybe we end up going higher from here, but I could care less. I mean, I'll look at it when after London opens. It's very much in an area of demand, so we could, and maybe even get a Frankfurt push that taps into the 80% that I'm looking at to go higher. So if that's the case, great, and I'll play the continuation move tomorrow morning. Like I'll play the reaccumulations up to it. But overall, bigger picture, I'm bearish, right? Overall, I'm bearish. This is just playing in between the lines. Ideally, this is our leg, right? So wait for it. I'll be waiting for the bigger sell off from here to target a new low, and then just continue playing this, right? I mean, I'm targeting. I've been saying since October, I've been targeting 27K as my very first big target on U30, and I'm sticking with that. I mean, we're gonna get there, right? I mean, we hit this is what I'm targeting right here. And then we may even potentially come into, realistically, we may even potentially come into the big COVID spike, which would put us, 24K, 20K, 500, somewhere in there. So that's what I'm looking for, and the writing's on the wall. I mean, just follow your market cycle. This was just a massive reaccumulation into another reaccumulation. Well, we look at this massive distribution that we're seeing here. So it only makes sense for price to, trade up. So, and actually, I guess I can delete some of these because we do not need, there we go. All right, that is good. You got it, man. Is there a certain time when you stop looking to take positions in the market? For me, yeah. Yep. I mean, it depends on the day, but I can tell you that I'm pretty much done by London close every day. Sometimes I'll go a little later, but for the most part, London close. Do I offer mentorship or training? Yeah, I mean, I run a small little group, but yeah, I don't like to have a large group to do it because then it gets a little too crazy and nothing ever gets done. So, but yeah, indices, I'm definitely bearish, right? And I'm looking to target this right here first, and then potentially this area right here second. So any of my big buys out of legs, I'm holding, so I'm holding a total of, I think, like 13 orders now on shorts out of U30, Nasdaq, and SPX. And, I partial out, but for the most part, I'm leaving all the runners, and I'm just taking them all the way down to 27K. So hypothetically, if the world crashes and the governments create a one world currency, what would happen to Forex? Who knows? I don't know. I guess we would be in a state of world war if that happens, right? Because if we have a one world currency, who's gonna be responsible for policing it? And that's where you're gonna get differences of opinions, I guess, in who enforces it and how they enforce it and how they regulate it. Which bank takes control? And then is that enough? Is that too much power for a bank to have? So, I mean, yeah, hypothetically, I don't know. I hope we never get to that, because I think that would be well, I could tell you what I'd be doing. I wouldn't be worrying about so much on currency. I'd be worrying about protections and trying to word this so that YouTube doesn't freaking censor this video, but yeah, I think you've got more to worry about than, what happens to Forex. I mean, in a nutshell, yeah. I mean, if we go to a one world currency or a one currency for the world, I think you're going to have some significant issues when it comes to world power and influence and oversight. So yeah, I honestly could care less. Yeah. All right. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's pretty much everything I'm looking at, I don't know if anybody else is looking at anything else, but I'm pretty much the gist of it. I'm bullish dollar, so everything against the dollar, I'm shorting. Everything with the dollar, I'm buying. And then yen crosses, I'm looking for buys. I didn't talk about NZD CAD or ACAD, just they're on my secondary list, but I'm still shorting the crap out of these. For those that got into NCAD up here, oh, no, I don't want to do that. For those that got into NCAD up here, you're still holding it. Great. Obviously I'm waiting. Now that we finally have broken this, I'm going to be waiting out of here or out of here. But I mean, we're talking about 200 pips to get up here and almost, 250 pips to get up to this area. So I'm definitely still shorting NCAD, and ACAD's the same thing. I'm going to be shorting ACAD. Those that caught this move out of here, I mean, yeah, that's what are we talking here? That's 250 pips. And, I'm going to be looking for continuation plays. So, we'll see if it gives me any reason to get into a short. I was looking for a short yesterday into today, but we just never got anything, like this is what I wanted us to come back into. And instead we decided to make a new low. So there was nothing for me to play on it. So she just sits on my secondary list until we do something. But that's it. I mean, that's pretty much everything I'm looking at. I think a couple people grabbed some, I think a couple people grabbed NJ. But I don't know if I'm going to be even looking at NJ, to be honest. Like yeah, I mean, I'd rather trade UJ. I know bullish dollar, technically you're fighting 2 weak currencies here on EJ. So, I'll be happy with my GU short, and again, I'll be adding some positions once we break the low, and we'll go from there. So awesome. Anybody else have anything else? If not, I am going to call it a night. Yeah, awesome. All right, cool. Going once, going twice. If you guys got nothing else, I'm going to enjoy. I think I'm going to catch up on some Kenobi. Me and my son gotta watch an episode. You got it. Enjoy, and I'll catch everybody later. Hit me up in the chats if you guys need anything.